Hello again and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse and I am back for a fun one for you guys today. We are taking a look at we're kind of going to be taking a sneak peek actually at an app that is not quite out yet, but I just gained access to it literally about a day ago. And I got to tell you, I'm kind of having a blast with this one. We are looking at the Envision Assistant. I've covered Envision AI a couple of different times on the channel, once earlier on, and then once they had made kind of significant updates to the Envision app. And right now, this is a separate app from Envision. If you don't remember or are unfamiliar, the Envision app itself is kind of a similar tool to Seeing AI. I call it a camera multi-tool app where you can recognize things like text or barcodes, handwriting, objects, scenes, all those different types of things. So go check that out if you want to. That is available on Android and iOS right now. But again, this app is not available right now. I just happened to get into the beta, and we are allowed to share this early build with other people. So I wanted to demonstrate it with you because it is kind of cool. If you go to AppleVis, there is a thread from the Envision creators, and I'll try to remember and put a link in the description where the creators of Envision, they give some information on the Envision Assistant and links to a short video demonstration of it, which I found highly entertaining, as well as a link to register if you're interested in becoming a beta tester in the future. So I will put a link in the description for that thread. If you want to gain access to that at some point, you can go that route as well. So what is Envision Assistant? Well, it's an AI assistant. I've covered Be My Eyes with the Be My AI feature a few times late last year, and I've found that to be very useful in a lot of situations. This one goes kind of a step further, and it's kind of a different approach. It's similar but different, and again, it's very early on, alpha, beta, whatever. So they're always adding and tweaking and fixing things, and so I'm very curious to see what is going to all be included in the 1.0 release. However, the interesting thing about the Envision Assistant is they're kind of giving it a personality. So, we've all thought about like science fiction and like, well, what if we had a virtual assistant like, I believe I listened to a podcast a while ago where they were demonstrating it, and they kind of made it, act like Alfred from Batman, or maybe like I named my assistant, I just went stupid. Jarvis, the guy that helps Iron Man, the AI that helps Iron Man. So I named mine Jarvis for now. But what's cool is you can go in and rename your AI. You can, the first thing that you do when you go into the app, and I'll show you because you can customize this at any time. There's a couple of different fields where like you can give it kind of a bio about yourself, so it knows like a bit about you, who you are, what you do, what you like, whatever you choose to include in this paragraph or this edit box. And then there's another edit box for customizing the AI. And the nice thing is there's a little button on each one of those where that you can ask for hints, like what types of stuff are you looking for here? And that was really helpful, especially for creating the personality of my AI. So let's go ahead and open up the app, and I'll show you that first, and then we'll have some fun.
Envision Assistant, beta. Envision Assistant.
So we're going to open that up. I'm going to open up, and I'll flick over to my settings here. Right now, all we have is a settings.
Start with photo button.
Start with photo, which means we're going to take a picture, and we're going to ask it a question about said picture.
Start with voice button.
And we can just start with voice. We're not going to use the camera at all, and we can just ask it a question. So if you just want to ask it about a certain topic, you can do that.
Start
So
settings
let's
button.
go into settings,
Back button.
and I'll show you how I've kind of created my AI. And again, I'm kind of fine-tuning it, trying to think of things how I can redo my description or modify it, and just to see what happens with it. So your first option,
Bio and about you. Bio and personality.
bio and
About you.
personality.
Change your biography.
So change my biography. Let's say I go in here.
Back button. What would you like your assistant to know about you to provide better responses?
So what would you like your assistant to know?
Tap here for tips button.
So it says tap here for tips. You get a little pop-up here.
Try and think along the lines of, what's your name? Where are you based? What do you do for work? What are your hobbies and interests? What are your food and dietary preferences? What subjects can you talk about for hours? What are some goals you have?
Okay, so
You can
there are
always change and
things.
modify this later as well.
So there, like I said, I may add and tweak this, and I'm very likely will.
Close button.
So let's close that, and I'll show you
Back.
what I've written so far. Here's my edit box.
By day, I am an assistive technology specialist helping blind and visually impaired people get through education and ultimately become employed. Outside of my day job, I work as a game, technology, and XR accessibility advocate and consultant. I work with app and game developers to help make technology and games more accessible. I also work directly with Microsoft on their low vision advisory board and XR access to make virtual and augmented reality more accessible. I love technology, video games, music, and lots of nerdy stuff. I still love cartoons like Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. For music, I listen to a little bit of everything, but mostly like rock and heavy metal. I also have been playing the drums for the past several years and love it. I run the illegally cited YouTube channel where I cover technology and gaming from a blind and low vision perspective. I also love to read, especially action, thriller, and technology-related books. I never take things too seriously, am pretty snarky and sarcastic sometimes, and have kind of a dark and twisted sense of humor. Text field. Double tap
So
to
that
edit.
gives it enough info.
Back button. Back
It gives,
button.
you know, like what I do, a little bit about me, some of my professional stuff, and even a little bit about my personality. You know, I'm pretty easygoing, I'm pretty informal, I'm a little sarcastic, snarky, I've got kind of a dark and twisted sense of humor. So that's something that it can, you know, tailor its responses to me. Now we also have a
About
thing
assistant.
here.
Choose the assistant's personality.
Here's the assistant personality. This is really interesting.
About assistant. Choose back. How would you like your assistant to speak with you?
Okay,
Tap here for tips button.
let's do that.
Think along the lines of, what is the name of your assistant? How formal or casual should your assistant be? How long or short should responses generally be? How do you want to be addressed? Should your assistant have opinions on topics or remain neutral? You can always change and modify this later as well.
Okay, pretty self-explanatory.
Close button.
So let's see what I have in here so far.
Back button. Text field is editing. My assistant's name is Jarvis. Answers should be a mix of casual and formal. He is nerdy and a bit sarcastic. When offering information, he stays new, but may also be a little snarky about it. Character mode, insertion point at end.
Oh, I think I meant, okay, hold on, I gotta fix
Text field.
something.
Insertion point at start. Words. My assistant name is John. Answer should be a mix of can and form. He is nerd and a bit sarcastic. When offer info, he stay new, but may also be also may, but new comma. New stays. He stays new comma. Characters, comma. W, delete, W, E. U, R, T, R, A, L.
I think
L.
that's how you spell neutral.
Done. Text field is editing. My assistant's name is Jarvis. Answers should be a mix of casual and formal. He is nerdy and a bit sarcastic. When offering information, he stays neutral, but may also be a little snarky about it.
Nope, I just went stupid. Hang on.
Delete, L, A, R, T, U.
Alexa, how do you spell neutral?
Neutral is spelled
E, U, U, T, T, R.
Right, I forgot the
A,
E.
L, L.
There we go.
Done. Text field is editing. My assistant's name is Jarvis. Answers should be a mix of casual and formal. He is nerdy and a bit sarcastic. When offering information, he stays neutral, but may also be a little snarky about it. Character mode, insertion done, button.
All right, that's done.
Done.
Let's go ahead and save that a little bit here.
Back
All right, so I
button.
made a minor tweak. I was dictating that earlier and I didn't catch that mistake. So those are a couple of components I can use to customize my personality. Then you have
Voices. Choose the assistant's voice.
choose the assistant's voice. This is fun. And I don't know
Back
what
button.
synthesizer they're using. I know that it's really good and I would love to have some sort of, even if I had to buy it, I would consider buying something like this for Windows if I could use it with NVDA and other text-to-speech apps, because these are some pretty dang good voices, you guys. Let's go ahead and sample.
Rachel, female, young, American, play, button. Play.
Change in all things is sweet.
Okay.
Drew, mail, play, button. Play.
Love doesn't make the world go round. Love is what makes the ride worthwhile.
Clyde, mail,
Clyde
middle-aged
is the
American,
one I
play,
chose.
button.
I swear to God, this guy sounds like an audible narrator, and not quite Scott Brick, but I think like he sounds so much like an author or like a narrator for a lot of the kind of thriller actiony, actiony books that I like to read. Listen to this guy.
Play, button. Play.
I'd rather regret the things that I've done than the things that I've not done.
I'm really dramatic, and I'm going to describe this action scene. It's just really cool. So I'm not going to go through all of them, but literally there's loads of male voices, female voices, younger, older, middle age, whatever. So that's what I chose.
Back, button.
So we've got that all the configuration out of the way. Let's have some
Back,
fun.
button.
So again, you've heard how my assistant is customized personality-wise. Now we are going to ask it some stuff, and hopefully my mirroring and everything behaves itself so that
Back,
the
button.
microphone works properly. Let's go ahead and
Settings, button.
okay. Let's go ahead and take a picture here.
Start with photo, button. Start with photo. Speak now.
Describe the scene.
Processing.
And it doesn't take too long. This is great.
Ah, the classic habitat of the technophile. This room appears to be basking in the gentle glow of blue LED lights, a beacon of modernity. Before us stands a sturdy desk, proudly supporting a computer setup that would make any gamer or digital connoisseur nod in approval. On the left, a computer tower revels in its own luminescence, with 3 glorious blue fans visible through a glass panel, probably whispering sweet nothings to the CPU to keep it cool during intense computing sessions. Atop the tower rests a plush creature, perhaps a guardian mascot to ward off digital demons or just there to look adorable. To the right, a monitor displays a cluttered desktop, icons scattered like digital breadcrumbs, each likely leading to an adventure or at least a piece of software. Below this window to the virtual world, a backlit keyboard emits a celestial glow, waiting to translate thoughts into action at the speed of light, or at least as fast as the user's fingers can manage. Off
Pretty
to the side,
fast.
there's a headset, possibly for immersing oneself in symphonies of gunfire or the ambient sounds of virtual landscapes. A miscellaneous assortment of items on the desk completes the scene, objects that likely serve purposes only truly understood by the desk's owner. Overall, it's a workspace that whispers of late nights, raids with virtual comrades, and the ever-persistent quest to conquer just one more level before bed.
So that's pretty hilarious. I mean, it describes it in pretty good detail, but it's just got this, again, it's kind of got this like snarky personality. It almost reminds me of like Max Payne and like this kind of noir voiceover of like what somebody's thinking. Like I can just hear Max Payne talking about like, describing the scene or describing, the level, like just this sort of noir narration. It's great. So that's one. Let's go ahead and I'm going to, now I can ask it a follow-up question.
Follow-up question, button.
Which I'm not going to do this time.
End conversation,
I'm
button.
going to end conversation.
Alert. How was your experience using Envision Assist? Satisfactory, button.
Yeah, satisfactory. That was great. And I did this pretty much the exact
Settings,
same
button.
picture before, but it gave me a totally different description. So let's go ahead and I'm going to
Envision Assistant, beta.
minimize this for
Double
now.
tap to open.
Thank God I have my Bluetooth headset here. I'm going to walk elsewhere in my apartment and turn some lights on. And let's go ahead and do another one.
Envision Assistant.
You'll see a little
active.
bit more of my
Envision
messy
Assistant,
apartment,
active.
but hey.
Envision Assistant, active.
Okay, so we got.
Swipe up with 3
Well,
fingers
I'm
to
not
close
even
the
going
app.
to. I'm not even going to
Start
tell
with
you.
photo, button. Start with photo, button. Start with photo. Speak now.
Describe the scene. Describe the scene. Gotta wait for the beep.
Processing.
Oh, I think I might have screwed this one up
All
a
right,
little
let's
bit.
tackle this den of nostalgia and practicality combined. We've got a wooden table flaunting an eclectic array of objects. On top of the table lives a collection that could send a chill down the spine of any 80s kid. A classic red and blue Optimus Prime figure firmly standing guard next to some
Yeah.
other transforming companions, including what looks to be reminiscent of an Ecto-1 from the Ghostbusters and an ambulance helicopter from probably another realm of childhood memories.
No, that was probably
Nearby,
the
we see envelopes
DeLorean.
and papers standing in stark contrast to the whimsy of the toys. Probably the unfortunate adulting reminder. There's also
Yes.
a small
So
black
good.
shredder ready to turn sensitive documents into
No, it's an
confetti
ice
because,
maker,
you know,
actually.
cybersecurity is the new boogeyman. Underneath the table, we've got what appears to be either the aftermath of a Mountain Dew commercial or the preparations for one, with boxes and cans of the dewy goodness, alongside a vacuum cleaner that might be pondering the meaning of life or just waiting for its next crumb. Fueled adventure. And there's some sort of a gas mask looking thing resting down there too, because why not be prepared for every possible scenario?
I think
The
that's
corner
my
of the
air
image reveals
fryer.
the edge of a mysterious pink object. Perhaps an accidental cameo by a finger or a case of object in camera is
I have
closer than
no
it
idea what
appears.
that is.
The room beyond this tabletop still life hints at more technology-infused environment, with computer chairs and what might be some serious gamer or workstation setups. It's almost as if the table is a gateway between a carefree childhood and the responsible adult existence sprinkled with the essence of caffeinated beverages. Keep rocking that dichotomy.
That's really good. So it got a few things wrong. It thought there was a paper shredder. It's actually a countertop ice maker, which I actually absolutely love. It got the Mountain Dew, saw the vacuum cleaner under by the table, and I forget there was some other thing. Oh, there was no mask. It got a. I have a. It's like a small little air fryer thing that I just have sitting under the table. So it got most things right. I mean, it even recognized like the brands, you know, the Mountain Dew, the Optimus Prime. The vehicle. There was no helicopter. I think it recognized the probably the weird stuff on the DeLorean because I have that Back to the Future car there. So it kind of got mixed up. There was maybe some stuff in front of it and it couldn't tell. But there is a description of another scene. Let's ask this a more specific question.
End conversation. Button. Alert. How was your satisfactory? Button. Satisfactory. Settings. Start with photo. Button.
So now let's go ahead.
Start with photo. Button. Start with photo. Speak now.
Describe the microwave keypad to me.
Processing.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
let's break
grab
down
something
this
here,
microwave keypad like we're cracking a code worse than the one that protects your leftover pizza from prying roommates. Top row, you've got two buttons with icons. One that looks like a bowl of popcorn, because who wants to wait for a movie reminder to pop your corn? And next to it, a pizza slice for when you want to relive last night's dinner without the effort of preheating an actual oven. Second row, some mysterious codes masquerading as cooking options. Looks like baked potatoes. You know, when you're too
Yum.
hungry to remember the oven exists. And reheat for when potluck leftovers is your meal plan for the week. Third row, frozen dinner, no judgment. And beverage, because apparently it's too hard to wait for your tea to cool from molten lava to just tongue. Scaldingly hot. Below those culinary shortcuts are the numerical buttons, 1 through 9, laid out like your standard phone dial pad. Nostalgia, anyone? Below those, we enter the no man's land of 0 and start enter on the right. That's your launch button. Mission control for leftovers. Lastly, bottom dwellers include stop clear for when you feel like ejecting mid-mission, and timer because using your phone as a timer is so 2010. Above the numbers, there's a display with a clock, a critical feature for those who cook by the sun's position and need a friendly reminder from their microwave. Oh, and some buttons look worn out, suggesting a history of culinary adventures or just a serious affection for that popcorn button.
Oh, wow. I couldn't help but laugh. I mean, the description of these are just priceless. I am endlessly entertained by this app so far. So this time let's ask a follow-up question.
Follow a question button. Follow a question.
Where is the popcorn button?
Processing.
The modern wonder that ensures we can mindlessly munch on popcorn while binge-watching without the risk of burning down the kitchen. The proverbial popcorn button on this microwave, however, seems to be AWOL. There are other buttons with specific presets, but none visible here scream popcorn.
So
There's a chance it may be among the missing in action or hidden under a flap because, hey, who doesn't love a stealthy snack button? But in this particular lineup, you'll just have to nuke your kernels the old-fashioned way. Manual time input like a cave person. Keep those ears perked for the pops to slow down unless you enjoy the taste of carbon.
So it's weird because in the initial response, it recognized the popcorn and some of the specific buttons. Now, I've done this task earlier, and I asked it about a different button that I knew was there, and so it's sort of having trouble. Like my initial question, it shows, or it describes the buttons, but when I do the follow-up and ask specifically about a button, in this case that I know was there, it doesn't always necessarily seem to find it, which is kind of bizarre. Now, before we leave the kitchen, we're going to do one more thing. We're going to do a new task.
End conversation button. End conversation. Alert. How was it
Yeah,
satisfactory?
it was
button.
fine.
Satisfactory.
I kind of wish I could do
Settings button.
like great, good, or not good, because like it was good, but it could have been better. So I'm going to take a picture, and I'm going to ask.
Start with photo button. Start with photo. Speak now.
What are the cooking instructions?
Alrighty then. The image is a bit upside down, so let me just flip it in my virtual mind. It looks like we've got ourselves some microwave-friendly mac and cheese instructions. Here's how you're going to conjure up that cheesy concoction. 1. Remove the lid and the cheese sauce packet. You'll find them chilling on top of the pasta. 2. Add water to the fill line. That's the one that isn't the top of the cup because, you know, physics. 3. Stir it up. Just like you did that one time you accidentally started a debate about pineapple on pizza. 4. Microwave the cup of pasta on high for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Timing may vary if your microwave is as ancient as a fossil. 5. Give it a stir when it's done. Careful, it's hotter than a dragon's burp. 6. Squeeze the cheesy goodness from that sauce packet into the cup, like it's the last toothpaste in the house. 7. Stir again until you've achieved maximum cheesy nirvana. And voila, you've got yourself some mac and cheese that basically cooked itself. Enjoy your meal and don't forget to think of me when you're basking in the glow of cheesy euphoria.
Okay, so that's interesting. I don't even remember if there are microwave instructions. This is actually a hamburger helper box. And I always look at the oven or the stovetop instructions. So let's do a follow-up here and see if it recognizes anything about stovetop.
Follow a question button. Follow a question.
What are the stovetop cooking instructions?
Processing.
Aiming for that gourmet boxed max cheese, are we? Here's the lowdown for stovetop glory. 1. Boil 6 cups of water in a saucepan.
There we go.
2. Stir in the macaroni. Boil 7-8 minutes at medium heat, stirring occasionally. 3. Drain the water, but don't rinse those precious noodles. 4. Add 104 cups of milk. The recipe isn't picky, any milk will do.
1/4,
4 TBS with
104.
butter or margarine, and the cheese sauce mixed into the saucepan. 5. Mix it all up well. There you have it. The secret to stovetop bliss. Don't let its simplicity fool you. This is high cuisine. At least for every college student ever.
Hell yeah.
Happy cooking.
So, yeah, it messed up a little bit on the 1/4 because I think it said like 104 or something like that. I'll have to listen to the recording again. Here's where I would love to see an improvement. right now you see on the top there, you've got that black box with the text that the assistant is reading aloud. Currently, right now, unless you can see it, there's no way to touch that box and read it with voiceover. I would very, very much like to be able to do that, because I was asking it a question yesterday and it gave me a good answer, but part of the answer had, I was asking about like different games and stuff, and it gave me a name of a game that I hadn't played before, and I wanted to spell it because it was kind of it was a weird name that I wasn't sure how to spell. And it would be really helpful to be able to, A, have a button here to have the assistant repeat the last thing said in its voice, but I should also be able to touch and interact with that dialogue. I should be able to use that with voiceover, use rotor gestures, read line by line, letter, word, whatever. And it would also be nice to have a copy button. So we would just copy the whole entire block, and then I could go to another app and paste it somewhere, whether like a message, an email, a note, a document, whatever. Those are things that I really would like to see added. I think that would add a lot of core functionality to what's in the app already. But like I said, what's here is really good, and the assistant and its personality is what really makes this entertaining. You know, Be My Eyes, it kind of flowered things up as well a little bit. But again, if you don't like the way it describes, like, you know, again, you can kind of tailor your assistant to describe it however you want. Do you want it to be like, you know, you could say, I want more of an artsy description, I want more of a nerdy or a technical description. You know, I haven't even played with all the different ways that you could potentially adjust that. Um, but yeah, it's very, very cool. So we've done a few pictures. Now, oh, the other thing that would be good is to be able to import from either the photo roll. Again, I'm looking at Be My Eyes here. Import from your photo library, like an existing picture, and have that described. Or also be able to, if I'm using voiceover, or, you know, even if I'm not, being able to like double tap and hold on an image, let's say on a website, an email, a social media post. Because there's been a lot of times in Twitter where somebody will post some sort of like a joke or meme or announcement or something, but it's just basically somebody, you know, the one thing they love to do on social media is put just a screenshot of text as an announcement, you know, to combat the short maximum character limit that Twitter has. And so I double tap and hold on the image, I say share, and then I say, hey, recognize with Be My Eyes or Be My AI. And if I had that similar option for Envision Assistant, I would also love to be able to do that via the share sheet, no matter if it's, again, camera roll, email, document, web page, whatever. So those are some suggestions. Let's go ahead and ask it a couple of questions not using the camera. Let's just do some voice stuff here. So let's go ahead.
Conversation button.
End conversation.
Alert.
Yeah, that was actually really good. It
Satisfactory.
messed up a little bit of the ingredients, but it told the instructions
Settings
well.
button.
So let's go ahead and ask it.
Start with voice button. Start with voice. Speak now.
What can you tell me about Minnesota State Services for the Blind?
Minnesota State Services for the Blind, SSB. A beacon of hope in the land of 10,000 lakes. They offer a variety of services with the overarching goal of waving a magic wand to make life easier for blind and visually impaired folks. It's like they're trying to level the playing field in a game that's been unfairly patched against those with vision loss. They provide resources like training, employment services, business enterprise program opportunities, and even library services that apparently still believe print is not dead. And let's not forget the technology services, because what's life without a bit of gadgetry? If you happen to lose your magnifying glass or your guide dog insists on playing fetch with your white cane, you may want to peruse their website or give them a ring. They may just be the utility belt you need in your crusade for accessibility and employment. So in a nutshell, SSB is like a Swiss Army knife for the vision impaired, useful in multiple scenarios and perfectly legal to carry around.
Mm, okay, that's pretty great. Again, I'm doing ones that I've already done before because I'm curious what it's going to say this time. I actually like the description this time that they did. They did a better job this time than they did the one earlier. But yeah, this one was, yeah, they mentioned our communication services, like our library services, our business enterprise, our work, we had workforce development, employment, and education and employment. The technology services, that's again where I work. So yeah, they didn't cover every little aspect, but they did a pretty darn good overview. That's not bad at all. Just for fun, let's see if it can tell me more about.
Follow a question button. Follow a question.
Tell me more about their workforce development services.
Processing.
Ah, the great state of Minnesota, land of 10,000 lakes and at least a handful of services for the blind. Minnesota State Services for the Blind, SSB, offers a delightful array of workforce development services designed to make employment more than just a wild dream for individuals who are blind, visually impaired, or deafblind. So strap in, and let's talk about the vocational rehabilitation program, shall we? It's like a matchmaking service, but instead of finding you a hot date, they find you a hot job. SSB
Okay.
offers career counseling, job search assistance, and training. Because nothing says I'm ready to work like actually knowing what you're doing. There's also the State Services for the Blind Business Enterprises program, which allows participants to operate their own businesses in state-owned buildings. Imagine that being the boss of your own snack bar, and all you had to do was be blind and not completely terrible at business.
Mm.
On top of that, they've got the Workforce Development Unit, which is all about giving individuals the tools, strategies, and confidence to say, yes, I can be part of the workforce, and no, I won't just sit at home binge-watching Daredevil because he's one of us. Just
That's
remember, while the
awesome.
workforce development services are great and all, the true superpower is the determination and skills of the people using them. After all, SSB may give you the utility belt, but you're the hero in this story, or anti-hero if you've got that dark and twisted humor going for you.
Okay. There is some nice little jabs there. I love the one to be like, without sitting at home and binge watching Daredevil because he's one of us. That cracked me up. There's a couple other little bits in there. That was really good. I got to admit that was a really spicy. That was a spicy way of describing SSB. I'm definitely gonna have to share this with my coworkers. They'll get a kick out of this one. But yeah, let's go ahead and maybe ask it one more fun thing. Let's go ask it something less objective, and let's see what it does. I did something like this earlier, and
End conversation
I want to
button.
see what it's going to do
Alert.
because
HAL
I've
was used.
had this franchise on my mind lately,
Satisfactory
having
button.
just played one of their
Satisfactory.
games recently. Okay, let's
Settings
do it
button.
one more
Start with
time.
photo button.
No,
Start with
let's.
voice button. Start with voice. Speak now.
Which is the best version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Get a little nerd war to wrap this thing up.
Ah, the age-old debate that could spark more controversy than asking about the best pizza topping. Well, let me don my nerdy glasses and offer this. There are several versions of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, each with its own flavor, like a complex pizza. Firstly, there's the original 1987 animated series, which is the cheese pizza of the TMNT universe. A classic staple. It's campy. It's where many of us got our first taste of cowabunga.
Heck yeah,
And it holds a special place in the hearts of many.
sure
Then
does.
we've got the darker, more anchovy-flavored 2003 series, which goes back to the TMNT's comic book roots.
Not
pleasing
bad.
fans who prefer a bit more grit on their crust. Don't forget the 2012 CGI animated series. Consider this one the supreme pizza with everything on it. It mixes a
That
bit
one's
of
actually
old
really
and new,
good.
charming both the nostalgic crowd and the younglings. And hold the phone, there's Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is sort of like pineapple on pizza. People either love the new flavor or it just doesn't sit right with their taste buds. Personally, I won't pick sides because as a neutral entity, I wouldn't want to shell shock anyone with my opinion. But you, as an aficionado, probably have your favorite picked out. Whichever series you think is the best, they all have one thing in common. They're heroes in a half shell, and that's gnarly, dude.
So you noticed, and I fixed that typo that I had earlier. He kind of mentioned that he's going to be neutral about it. So I could change his personality and say, I would like your opinion on things. And so then he probably would give his opinion on which one he thought. So that's pretty cool. He did a good job of describing all of them. And even the way he described them, it's like, yeah, the original, kind of has the cheese factor to it, because yes, it is very cheesy. The 2003 one is a bit darker and more toward the comic books, which I liked in the beginning, but I don't really care for all the Triceratons space stuff. The 2012 one, if you guys haven't seen that and you're into Turtles, give that one a shot, because it's actually really quite good. And the pineapple description for the Rise of the TMNT, I would totally agree with, because some people really love it. I'm not one of them. I tried to watch a couple episodes and just the art style doesn't bother me, but the way they portrayed a lot of the characters, and it was a little too kiddie. It was a little too, whatever. So yeah, I would say that's a pretty accurate
Envision Assistant, beta.
debate
Double tap to open.
description. And with that, I think that is a pretty comprehensive look at the beta version of the Envision Assistant. Again, I am just having a blast getting its description of things, tweaking my AI personality a little bit just the way I want it, asking it non-visual questions with just the microphone like we did, and just seeing what it comes up with. Because again, you have Be My Eyes. Like Be My Eyes seems like the app you'd want to use, at least right now, if you just want more of a straight, like, give me a description. There may be a little bit of prose to it. There may be a little bit of floweriness to it, but not too much. It's going to mainly kind of give you the facts and describe it pretty well. If you want more of, again, your personality, however you've customized it, and again, mine's a little more snarky. This gets the job done too. I asked it some practical things like describing the microwave and getting some cooking instructions. I asked it some frivolous stuff. I asked it to describe some scenes. So not too bad. The only other thing that I would say is it kind of would be nice to also have like adding multiple profiles that you could switch to from the home screen here, or from the, when you're on the main screen, because there are times where instead, like I was in the beta Slack channel earlier, and I had mentioned this in there, and somebody said, well, I just write little notes and then copy and paste the personalities that I want into whenever I want it to change. I mean, yeah, that's doable, but that's slow and clunky, and by the time I did that, I would just use another app. So I think it would be cool to have, maybe have a limit, 2 or 3 of them, but like being able to have a few different personalities. So maybe you want to have maybe a more of a humorous one when you need a little cheering up. Maybe you want a more just straight up serious one when you just want to get the facts, get in, get out. And maybe you want to have kind of a nerdy one or something, whatever personality you want to go for. But I would like to be able to switch between 2 or 3 different personalities, just to, depending on the context, depending on what I need or my mood. Because again, sometimes I don't want the extra, like, comparing it to a nerdy franchise or something. Like if I just want to get, let's say, cooking instructions, I just want to get 1, 2, 3 done. I don't want all this extra stuff. But there are times where I might want that. So that would be another thing. But yeah, as far as suggestions, that would be one. Being able to read and review with voiceover and copy the responses, and also have a repeat with the AI voice. I would like to be able to hit a repeat button and it could read me that again in its own voice. That would be another thing. And I think one other feature that I would love to see is some sort of a history. I know other apps have had this where like it'll save a log of your conversations and then you can go back and delete one or all of them. So it's like, oh, 3 days from now, I asked it this question and I want to go back and look at its answer for a question that I asked. And it would be cool just to go back and get that exact, or if I want to show somebody an exact response that I got. It would be great to just pull up under settings or something, just go under and pull up a history of my interactions and then delete the ones I don't want. And there, like I said, there's also other things that I don't even know what's coming. This is a very early beta. I know a couple of other things that I know they're working on, but I'm not going to say because, who knows how it'll work and if they'll be able to do it. But there is really cool potential. And one thing in particular I would love to mention, but if it does get implemented, we will be doing a follow-up, especially once this hits at least version 1.0 for the public. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, though. This is Envision Assistant. Very useful, very entertaining, and hope you guys look forward to it as well. Give the video a like if you did. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited, illegally-cited.com, and of course right here on YouTube. Until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.